So I just had this doodle puppy sign up for my puppy training program. She's 13 weeks old. Her owners sought out training for her because she's starting to get really, really bad with some behaviors, mainly the jumping. It's pretty excessive. She does it mainly for attention seeking. We'll get into that here in a second, why she's doing it and how I'm addressing it. It's pretty typical for most people I talk to that are looking for puppy training. They got a puppy, they either forgot because it's been a long time since they raised a puppy, or they've never raised a puppy before, so they were just unaware of how much work and how difficult it can be. So like I said, they're not alone here. Most people, when they reach out, they have this like laundry list of behaviors that they want to stop. I want my puppy to stop play biting. I want them to stop chewing. I want them to stop jumping, stop going to the bathroom in the house. And like I said, that's pretty normal. You want, obviously you get a pet dog because you want to be able to enjoy them. So the natural line of thinking is, well, I don't want my dog to be doing all these behaviors, so we need to go ahead and teach them to not do all these behaviors. And it seems counterintuitive to a lot of people at first, I think, when the way that I teach my clients how to handle stuff like this. We don't always directly address those behaviors. There's a certain degree of management that has to go into raising a puppy. Now the caveat here is you can't be purposely or accidentally making those behaviors worse. I'll get into that here in a second. But like I said, there's a degree of management that has to go into it, because the way that your average dog trainer has in their toolbox as a way to get rid of a behavior, it's almost exclusively through some form of punishment. And when you apply too much punishment to a dog this young and this mentally immature, you will actually hurt your relationship with them, and quite possibly inhibit them in the long run. You'll lessen their desire to be inquisitive and try new things and experiment, things that we rely on when we're doing training down the road for obedience or anything else. If you are trying to teach a dog a new behavior, you're relying on their desire and interest to try something new that hasn't worked for them in the past, right? It's hot. Anyways, so if we just rely on trying to administer a punishment for a dog play biting me, I run the risk of them not connecting the dots properly and just assuming, oh, I'm not allowed to go interact with this guy, or just not wanting to because it's not pleasant, or it's excessively unpleasant whenever they do. So there's also a degree of tolerance that I apply when I'm working with puppies, especially if I'm in the middle of a training session where I'm working with their food and I'm getting them to, follow me around and chase after the food. Often they're biting my hands. Sometimes they're even jumping on me and clawing me up. This particular puppy, I feel like I had paper cuts all over my hands and wrists from her. And I mostly just kind of let it go, because the trade-off is she is highly enjoying engaging and interacting with me. And I need to have that in place before I can even teach her a command. So if I get her to want to interact with me, and then, she accidentally bites me or purposely mouths me, because that's how puppies explore their environment, and I startle her, I yell at her, I apply some form of punishment for doing so, she's gonna be like, well, screw that guy, I'm gonna go do something else that isn't unpleasant and that isn't yelling at me. Now, on the flip side, and here's where the problem came in for this family, and so many people make this mistake. This is nothing against them. Most people, there's no way they could have known better unless somebody properly taught you the alternative here. But so they've had this puppy since she was 8 weeks old. She's 13 weeks old. Over a third of her life, she has been getting attention by jumping up and putting her paws on you. She's shorter than you. She has to go up to get to you. And she's 8, 9, 10 weeks old, this cute little ball of fluff that doesn't really move very fast. And if she jumps up on you, it doesn't even really bother you that much, because she's not very strong or energetic yet. So you tolerate it or end up encouraging it, because then you either pick them up, put them in your lap, snuggle them, pet them, whatever, but they are getting rewarded for jumping up on you. The reason why is because dogs are always looking for a predictor for the reward. They're looking for the pathway to get there. How do I get the attention that I want? Well, what worked last time was I just put my paws up on this person's leg and they picked me up. So maybe I'll try that again. And then the more they do that, the more they realize that this is actually the pathway to success when I want this certain thing. So you can very, very easily, because all that affection it's highly rewarding to the dog. It's extremely rewarding. Plenty of young puppies even that I first start with, they will ignore the food because they're like, I can get that food later. They're gonna put that food in the bowl later. I want the attention. I want you to pick me up. I want you to snuggle me. I want you to pet me. So they'll sidestep the food and go around and jump up on me. And the food's like right here, and they're just right past it, and they're grabbing onto me, trying to get me to do the thing that they have self-learned has worked for them this far in their life. I mean, think about it. Like, she's 13 weeks old. They got her at 8 weeks. So 5 weeks, which is over a third of her life, but the entire 5 weeks that this particular family has owned her, that is how she has perceived their interactions should go. That's what's worked. And then, now she gets a little bit older. So 4 or 5 weeks goes by, and now you're like, okay, I don't like this. Like, you're starting to claw me up. You're getting to be too much about it, because what happens is when you're like, now I don't want to pick you up. You jumped on me, and now I'm telling you, no, don't do that. In the puppy's mind, what she sees is, normally that works. Normally when I jump up on you, that gets you to pick me up and pet me or whatever. You're not doing it. That means I must have to do it harder. I must have to do it more, with more enthusiasm. We use the same concept to build enthusiasm with their obedience training when they're a little bit older. That's how they learn. If something typically works for them, but we want them to do it faster, like with the recall, or we want them to sit or lay down quicker, we can actually withhold the reward for a rep or two, and then they will do it with more enthusiasm, because normally this works. I must have to do it faster. It wasn't quick enough. But they're always going to default to what has worked in the past. So if you all of a sudden decide to arbitrarily move the goalpost, the puppy has no idea of that. So they're just going to think, man, I really have to convince this person that I get the reward like I always do. I got to work harder for it. And then we'll start swatting at them, telling them no, and pulling our hands away. Now we're turning our back. But again, you just move the goalpost without explaining that to them. You change the rules without fully educating them on what they're supposed to be doing. So what I did with this puppy, because the first session with every puppy in my puppy training anyways, what we're doing is we're focusing on getting the puppy to learn how to pay attention to me and engage with me, to eat food out of my hand and to follow the food. So basically all I did was I gave her that to do instead. So like when she jumps up on me here and now, I scolded her a little bit a couple times. And she did not like that sound, and it actually did make her a little bit wary at first, and I had to show her that taking food in front of me with all 4 paws on the ground is how you can avoid me, giving you the sound. That's better. So it took a couple times to kind of rebuild her confidence after the first time that I reprimanded her for trying to jump. But what I was communicating was that it was going to be mildly unpleasant when she jumped. Like, I'm not swatting her with a newspaper or anything extreme like that. But not only you're not getting the attention, you're not getting food, you're getting nothing from me, and then I make a weird noise that you don't like. As soon as all 4 paws are on the ground, then I'm going to go ahead and give you food, or that's when I will pet you. The owner was blown away just after like the one day of work that we did, because she started preferring to keep all 4 paws on the ground. But that was through a lot of repetition of jumping up on me, never leading to any type of payout. Potential for a reprimand, that only happened a couple times. For the most part, it was all 4 paws on the ground and engage with me in a different way, and I'm going to pay you for that, so I'm using her food. She actually started enjoying that game more because I gave her something else to do. Like, I also talk a lot about redirection with a lot of my puppy owners. And that's one of the ways that we manage these unwanted behaviors. Like, she wants to do something with me, and so far her entire life, the only thing that she has learned gives her that satisfaction of engaging with me is jumping up for attention. So I'm giving her an alternate pathway that's not it's not compatible with jumping. So having her follow the food and chase the food and things like that's the new game that we're playing. I also showed the owner how to do the same concept, but with some toys. So interactive toys. Right now we're just using a tug, like just a rope basically. If she's in a feisty mood and she's like, I want to bite at your hands and jump up on you, then I'm just going to pull out a rope. If I need to, I'll put it on a string or a line so that my hands are nowhere near it, and I'm just tapping into her prey drive and getting her to chase the toy around. And I'm starting to teach her alternative ways to interact with me that are more fun. Now, because she was accidentally taught that jumping up is a self-rewarding behavior, now we have to go back and really dial in the consistency here. Like 0% of the time when she jumps up and tries to get attention, can she get rewarded? It has to always result in no reward. And 100% of the time when I'm asking her to engage with me, we're either playing the food games and working on her engagement and focus, or we're playing with a toy. That is it. If I'm going to pet you, and we're going to be teaching her more of this, I showed the owner how to do this, but something else that you can do is teach them that when you grab their collar or their harness, you hold it nice and firm. And when they hold still, when they freeze up, some puppies it takes a little bit longer for them to learn this. She naturally just kind of like sat down when I grabbed her harness, and then I'm going to pet her nice and slow. None of this stuff like, oh my God, you're so cute, what a cute puppy. That will rile them up so friggin' fast, and it's counterproductive. You want that to promote the calmness in the puppy when you interact with them, so they're not doing somersaults on top of you and spinning around like a Tasmanian devil. Like I want calm, soothing. I'm gonna pet you nice and slow, head to tail. Almost like you're trying to ease like a wild horse, like easy girl, easy girl. And that will allow her to learn that not only how do I get the attention? Like I get the attention by keeping all four paws on the ground, but I also continue to get the attention by remaining calm and still. So try this stuff out. If you're struggling with any type of excessive attention seeking, take a really good look at how you interact with your dog. It is highly likely that you have accidentally taught them to do that. And if that's the case, it's fine. You can reverse it. Just know that you have to be very strategic about it, and you have to make it a priority that every interaction from here on out with the dog follows the new rules. The first thing you have to do is teach them what to do. You'll hear me say this all the time, teach them what to do, which is how you want them to sit still if you're gonna pet them, or give them an alternate behavior like chasing the food, playing with a toy. And over time, it becomes a numbers game. Over time, the more repetitions you do where they're interacting with you and engaging with you in the way that you want them to, and you're outcompeting the previous amount of repetitions that they've had where they have gotten what they wanted by being rude or inappropriate.